Two former Trump campaign advisors are calling out President Trump's enemies in a brand new book. One America's Christopher Carter spoke with the authors of that book, Corey Lewandowski and David Bossie. And this is the report. Take a listen.
I'm joined here with Corey Lewandowski and David Bossie. They have a new book out. It's called Trump's Enemies. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining One America News Network.
Thanks for having us.
So I'll start with either of you. What was your favorite part about writing this book?
Look, I think the best part of the book is being able to tell the story to the American people of what exactly Donald Trump was up against during the campaign with the FBI agents who were faking FISA applications to spy on members of the campaign because they didn't like their politics, all the way through those enemies who are there inside the White House as part of his administration that he has to fight. And ultimately, the end of this book is about the success of Donald Trump in the first 2 years of the administration, beating all those obstacles to become as successful as he's been.
One of the things I noticed in the book, a part that I read that really stuck out to me that I liked, was pertaining to Russia collusion. And you gentlemen called it, quote, a sweeping work of fiction so complex, so audacious, so unbelievable that if they gave out awards for bad excuses, the Democrats would win an Oscar, an Emmy, and maybe even the Heisman Trophy.
Well, you have to remember, this whole Russia collusion narrative started because the Hillary Clinton campaign couldn't come to terms with the fact that she lost the election. Every major media outlet said Hillary Clinton was going to win. And when she got crushed on Election Day in November of 2016, they had to come up with an excuse why she lost. Other than the fact she was a terrible candidate, she forgot where Michigan was, hadn't been to Pennsylvania, didn't connect with women, didn't connect with African Americans, and sheerly got outworked. That wasn't a good enough excuse. So they came up with this fake Russia hoax. And what happened next was Barack Obama expelled 35 Russians in the United States for basically no reason. And that perpetuated the Russian narrative. And on January 6th, I think, or 7th of 2017 is when Comey and Clapper and Brennan came to New York to Trump Tower and dropped that false dossier in a private meeting with Donald Trump. And that went from a salacious piece of tabloid trash that the FBI was holding to a document which was presented to the president-elect of the United States in a secured meeting. And that's where the media picked it up because Jim Comey and his cohorts leaked it. And that's where this whole Russia fake collusion narrative starts. And I hope when the Russia story is finalized, when Bob Mueller finishes his report, it is made public for everybody to see and declassified so we can all read what really transpired.
What would you like to see the House Judiciary Committee ask James Comey?
Look, I want to dig deeper into how he got the fake Russian dossier. How did he come into its possession? Did he work with Glenn Simpson at all? What did he know about what McCabe and Strzok and Page and all of their nefarious activities? Did he know about the reasons now that they were fired from the FBI? What did he understand what was going on? I think he, there's clearly a case to be made that he did. And then more into the leaking. What else did he leak? Right? We know he leaked, right, the memo through the Columbia journalism professor there to the media, and he did that on purpose in order to get a special counsel appointed. So we know that James Comey was not the last Boy Scout, right? We know he was unethical and possibly, quite possibly lied to Congress. So there's a lot of questions that Congress needs to ask James Comey, and I hope they get him in front of the panel real soon to do that.
My next question will be this. Trump's enemies, what about Trump's allies? Whoever Trump picks as the next attorney general is going to be huge. Who do you think it should be?
Look, I think that he's got some great choices. Let me just throw a couple names out. And to be clear, I haven't spoken to the president about this, but I think John Radcliffe, who's a congressman from Texas, is a former DOJ official who understands what has taken place and the abuses at both the Department of Justice and the FBI under the previous leadership. I think would be a very solid choice. I look at Pam Bondi, the outgoing attorney general from the state of Florida, as someone who has a long-standing working relationship with the president prior to him coming into office and who was the most senior law enforcement officer in the state of Florida. And then I also think of Chris Christie, the former governor and former U.S. attorney for the state of New Jersey, who, again, has a long-standing relationship, understands the Justice Department. That's just to name a few, but those three, I think any of those would be great choices.
And to put a fine point on it, the president needs to appoint somebody that he knows. that he has a relationship with. His cabinet, he has to fill his cabinet, once again, with people that he knows. That you serve at the pleasure of the president. It is best for the nation that the president has relationships with his cabinet prior to them taking the job. And I think in this particular instance, after 2 years of really not being able to pick up the phone and calling your attorney general, I think you need to turn the page and pick somebody that you do know. Not that you're going to be telling them what to do, but you want to be able to communicate with every one of your cabinet members.
David Bossie, Corey Lewandowski, thank you guys so much for joining One America. The book is called Trump's Enemies: How the Deep State is Undermining the Presidency.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.